Brad Stevens has the chance to do something unthinkable, make a very big move in the draft with looking at the positions of need, looking at a player in Jaylen Brown, who comes from Auburn and plays an SEC where was very, very valuable for their big run in the March Madness tournament. But how would his game translate to the NBA and fit in to an offense or defensive scheme alongside Joe Mazzulla, and would he be a great fit for the Boston Celtics looking with their 2 draft picks? Well, we're going to decide and break down all of that when looking at Jaylen Brown in today's NBA draft mock breakdown on this episode here on Celtics Digest. I am Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been fantastic, showing Patrick and I all the support on these draft videos, letting us know who you guys want to see. Jaylen Brown was a request by the one and only Rob Version, so shout out to Rob for letting us know down below in the comment section he wanted to see him. If there's anybody that you guys would like to see pop up on these mock drafts or potential pieces for the Celtics, definitely drop some names down. Patrick and I have already looked at a bunch of them, but we'll continue as the draft inches closer and closer for the Celtics, and this is a big time decision for the team to make some key impact pieces on the low value, with them being in the second apron. So it's very big. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about Jaylen Brown down below in the comment section. And let's get into today's video at hand today. As personally, I think this is a very interesting prospect to be looking at for the Boston Celtics, as he isn't really necessarily at the top of where the Celtics are predicting, falling all throughout mock drafts and having a little bit of weariness at the combine, which we'll dive into a little bit, has some concerns raised about him. But after a fantastic season at Auburn, being a part of the best team in the SEC, making it to the Final Four, and being on a top team in college basketball, Jaylen Brown proved that he can be a legitimate piece on one of these teams in the near future. So let's dive in and let's look at this article courtesy of my guy Sam LaFrance from How About Them Celtics, who's been doing his draft previews alongside Jack Simone on their channel. So if there's anybody that we haven't talked about, definitely check out their channel because they're pumping them out as well. We wrote an article for Jrue Houdini talking about college hoop star who could be the ideal Celtics draft target amid some offseason chaos, and that player is Jaylen Brown. So let's dive in and let's look at what he had to say on his stats. So Auburn big man Jaylen Brown is one of the players who's projected to be available within Boston's range. Tankathon has Brown slated as a 33rd on their 2025 big board, where the 22-year-old just completed his super senior season with the Tigers and was named the SEC Player of the Year. He appeared in 36 games en route to a Final Four appearance, averaging an 18.6 points, almost 11 rebounds, 2.9 assists, and 2.7 blocks per game, while shooting 51% from the field and 28% shooting from deep. These stats are screaming out he could be a legitimate piece in the NBA. Now, when looking at the type of player that he could as easily endear himself to the Celtic faithful, the guy plays hard. Even though he isn't super athletic, he consistently has impacted the game on defense with grit and great timing on block attempts. Yahoo Sports mock drafts list that he's got that dog in him as one of the 6'10" forwards defining traits, and we want to see that Sam said that he does have that dog in him, as that dog makes its presence felt on the offensive glass too. In 5 college seasons, Brown never averaged less than 4 offensive rebounds per game, and last season he was good for just under 5 in each outing. Once Brown is taken out of the paint, he isn't as effective on D, as he does lack some athleticism, which leaves him vulnerable to be attacked by smaller guards on switches. But as an undersized center prospect, he's benefited from some quickness and some bounce, though. He logged a vertical jump of just 28 inches at last month's draft combine. While that isn't an awful number for a guy his size, it's also nothing overly to be excited about. Offensively, Brown's game feels like he's a typical great in college, might not translate to the NBA skill set. He was highly effective out of the post for Auburn, using his 250-point frame to bully defenders on the block, and once Brown got himself to the rim, he was able to convert on 63% of his attempts. Even though he's left-handed, he's got no problem finishing with his right, though, which is also a bonus. But he's not just a scorer from the post either. He's got a great feel for the game and sets up his teammates as well. Brown's savvy passer out of the low post and high post, using his vision to his cutters or kick to shooters with precision, wrote Kevin O'Connor. Sometimes he'll receive a ball that's just a fire left-handed pass without even missing a beat. His ability to read defenses and deliver slick, timely feel, he adds a connective layer to his game just beyond scoring. His potential as a connector and passer that we just illustrated, combined with his comfort at the rim, makes Brown an interesting prospect as well, despite his shooting struggles. Even though he shot below 30% from deep last season, it wasn't great from the free throw line either. Those factors cast doubt on much how he can improve as a shooter. Though Boston loves to create open looks on the perimeter, it's not always everything, as he instills that a player like Luke Cornett is a prime example of a player who's effective without knocking down threes. He has a great timing on cuts, and dives to the rim, and does a great job operating out of the dunker spot. If Brown can learn to be a mirror of some of those strengths, maybe he could develop into a nice bench big with a high motor as well. If we want to dive in and look, like I mentioned, the combine inch vertical was a little bit weak, 24 0.5 inches. Not the greatest for Jaylen Brown at 6'10", so obviously not the most athletic. But looking at his college stats, you can see he was an absolute beast in his 5 years, right? 13 points, 16 points, 14 points, all averaging up, with all his stats going up as well. His rebounds, his assists, his blocks, same amount of steals, but his field goal percentage pretty stayed even, and he was a dominant player for Auburn in the SEC. Like Sam kind of painted a picture in our mind about Jaylen Brown, he's a solid low poise scorer, which the Celtics could ultimately value. Oop, hit the wrong button. Could ultimately value as well for this team. I really do think that a guy in Jaylen Brown can make that key impact for this Boston Celtics team in that reserve piece. Now, is he that first round pick, someone the Celtics are going to look at pick 28? Personally, in my opinion, I don't think so. I do think that the Celtics will value some other guys at that position, maybe even another big like a Ryan Kalkbrenner, or potentially even a Maxime Renaud or Danny Wolf, which we've talked about, or they could look at some of those other positions. We know that the Celtics have worked out a guy in Chaz Lanier from Tennessee. We also know that they've worked out a guy in Cedric Coward, who they might not be able to get, but if they are able to get, would be a solid position. And those guys obviously aren't big men. Play some guard, can play some wing. So the Celtics ultimately have a lot of questions that they really need to address. As we all know, with them being a second apron team with no Jayson Tatum and looking to shed salary, there are already a lot of questions on who's going to be on this roster, but also identifying those key rotational players and finding out those guys who can come off the bench and make those key impacts is also going to be very defining for the Boston Celtics without Jayson Tatum this season. Expecting to see a rise from guys like Peyton Pritchard, even Baylor Shireman. If Sam Hauser's on this roster, him still. Jordan Walsh to see if he can make an impact, and even some of these rookies as well. With Jaylen Brown, like I mentioned, obviously the vertical isn't the greatest. He's not going to be that high-flying rebounder, but he can be a solid low-post player. He can be a pretty solid defender as well in the paint. And I think for the value of potentially pick 32, if the Celtics do see him, if he falls out of the first round, would be a great piece to bring in on the low value. Even if the Celtics do take 2 centers in this draft class, right? That would be addressing a key issue at need with potentially Al Horford retiring or considering retirement, and even looking at the uncertainty of Luke Kornet being on this roster with being a free agent, and ultimately, who knows if Kristaps Porziņģis will be here, or if Kristaps Porziņģis, even if he is here, will live up to the expectations once again of being a dominant player. All of that really rides with the Boston Celtics center department, so maybe even identifying 2 key bigs could be a nice thing for the Boston Celtics. Like I said, Jaylen Brown, SEC Player of the Year, very dominant in college. With his game translating to the NBA, might not be the most significant impact player, but could be a key guy to work on the fringes that Brad Stevens could maybe see some untapped potential or have a keen eye to really feel like he can bring the best out of him with Joe Mazzulla in this offense and defense. Out of all the bigs that we have really looked at on this channel, Kalkbrenner, Maxime Renaud, and obviously Danny Wolf, I would rank all of them above Jaylen Brown. As like I said, Jaylen Brown, I think someone that they could get potentially with their 32nd pick, their day 2 pick that they have via Washington. But if they do feel like they can strike early on him, or if they feel like the value on him is available at pick 28, then I wouldn't be shocked if they took him there either. But someone to keep an eye on if those other bigs do go ahead of him. But like I said, wouldn't be the first guy that I would take if I were the Boston Celtics personally in my eyes. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys like about Jaylen Brown? What do you think he could bring to impact this Boston Celtics team? And if there's anybody else that you guys want to see breakdown on these draft prospects, let us know down below in the comment section so we can get some videos out. I know Rashard Fleming is one that has been talked about from you guys, and we're getting a video on him. I'm doing a video on another big that I really like for the Boston Celtics, and there'll be a lot more discussions as well. So once again, let us know your thoughts. Continue to keep supporting by hitting that like and subscribe button. Patrick and I will catch you guys in the next video when we do these breakdowns. So see you guys later, and have a great rest of your day. Go Boston Celtics.